Do we have Mad Dog Russo when he was on First Take? And before we bring Chris in, he was railing on Taylor Swift and Travis Kelsey and the coverage.
Oh, my God, I can look at this. That mother didn't want her in there. She wants to enjoy her son. And who takes their girlfriend 2 minutes into a relationship to visit mommy and daddy? Nobody does that. That's big. I mean, and then we got to show them walking out. And now all of a sudden, she's a big Kansas City Chiefs fan. She's never heard of letting go.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, my God.
Time out. Maybe.
All right. Well, Mad Dog Russo, host of Mad Dog Unleashed on Sirius XM and host of High Heat on MLB Network. Let's start out. First of all, good morning, Chris. Let's start out with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelsey. Can you at least embrace this, that it's content?
Listen, it's fun more than anything else. It's a little fabricated to me all of a sudden, meeting mom and dad. I'm meeting mom 10 minutes into the relation. I was a little shaky. It's also good TV, Dan, as you know better than anybody else. Let's get them going. Let's get Stephen A. Let's get Swagoo. Let's get Molly involved. We are in the entertainment business, as we know. I got to sit up there and scream. They're not going to get, they're not going to break down Cubs and Suzuki dropping a fly ball against Atlanta. I'm not going to have Stephen A. go crazy on the Cubs collapsing. So everybody can identify with that. That's part of it too. You got to remember when you're doing that particular segment, you got people behind you and you want them to react as well because the facial laughter and all that. Yeah. And they're going to have more of a reaction with Swift and Trace and Kelsey than they are on something else. Plus the fact I do feel it's stupid. They must have spent 3 hours on it. The game was lousy, but Burkhart and my buddy Olsen went on and on. I couldn't take it, banging against the window. So you put everything together. I got to kill 2 minutes. What the hell? Let's have some fun. That was the idea.
But when you look at topics that we address now, we seem to, take the treetop here. It's kind of the same teams, same topics. At least we try to shoehorn them into every show. You say,
no question.
Right?
What you're trying to do is you're trying to take something and a little different angle and trying to get a little mileage out of it, And you can get a lot of mileage out of Kelsey and Swift. They're two huge stars. And if I take a different angle with it, it will get attention. And no, in this case, I actually do have a different angle. Would I make a big deal about it? No, but I did say it Monday on the radio. I did bring it up Monday on the radio. This was before TV. God, I can't take Swift in the owner's box or in Kelsey's box. And I did a big deal about that on Monday too, which got a little attention. But nobody's got to tell you when you say it there, especially in my goofy way to do it, it's going to get a lot of attention. But, hopefully nobody got too ticked off on it. I did the gummies the week before. So there's a goofy element now with this, what I'm mad about. And that's why I thought it fit into it fit into what we're trying to do in that little segment there. Now, I'll be fair. I had a lot of people wanting me on last couple of days, including Fox Business News, and I wouldn't do it because I don't want to go too crazy and make this, and extend this too much. I did it on Wednesday. We got some mileage out of it. Now let's move on and go on. Maybe I'll do it again Monday when I see it at light. But I don't have to do it on Thursday and Friday after I did it on Wednesday. That's overkill, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, my problem was that you have Patrick Mahomes, his ankle's injured. He gets taken out of the game. Nobody asks any questions about his ankle. They ask him 3 questions about Taylor Swift. And that's when I go, come on, guys. Let's focus on what is real here. And that's a guy who's had an injury, and maybe that comes back, and hurts them in the long run. We're talking.
Good point. Now, he got over the ankle last year in the postseason, so maybe people think that he'll do it again. But that's an excellent point with the ankle. I didn't even think of that. But I also think the game was so bad. Yeah. That game you can't watch the Bears. You just can't watch. There's a couple of teams in the NFL you can't watch. Bears and Jets. You can't watch them because of the quarterback play. And I think the fact the game was so bad adds, okay, what are we going to do here? We got to kill some time. Here's Taylor Swift banging on the window. All excited.
But she must love Travis Kelsey if she's willing to watch Zach Wilson play football Sunday night.
Funny. That's funny. You're right. That's a good one. If she's going to put up with that at MetLife, Zach Wilson. And, I tell you, that's another thing that annoyed me this week. And I love Joe Willie. We all do. Does Joe got to pile on, Dan? Jeez. I mean, does he got to kill him too? The whole world's killing him, and then Joe goes on and kills him as well. I thought that was a little overboard. Didn't you think so?
Yeah, I was disappointed in Joe because that position is about confidence. He's clearly lacking confidence. It's not all on Zach Wilson, but everybody is piling on him as if he's the reason why. I'm just amazed you take away Rodgers and the Jets are this bad. I mean, is it really predicated on one guy?
That's an excellent point. I thought they'd hang in there and be a pretty decent team without Rodgers. I think part of it's the schedule. Dallas, that's a tough game. And then the Belichick, the Patriots 0-2, need the game in a worse way. That game could have gone either way, but they're going to lose again this week. So, and New York football, Dan, if the Giants lose this week, their next two games are Buffalo and Miami on the road.
Ouch.
I think it'll be 1-5 if they lose to Seattle, which they certainly could. And the Jets are going to lose this week. Here it is. We thought that the New York football was going to be great. And it's funny. 2 weeks ago, Goodell came into ESPN, downtown.
Yeah.
And I didn't do the spot, but I saw him there. And we were talking about the Jets. And he made a big deal to me about how the Jets were going to be a good team. And now that I've thought about it, it's Roger trying to make sure that the Jets were not going to be flexed out of all these games. Because you're going to flex. The Jets are in prime time constantly. You're going to have to flex these games the heck out of there. Nobody's going to want to watch the Jets if they're 1-6, even with the good defense.
Now, what would you have asked Goodell? You didn't get a chance to do the interview. What is there one question that you want an answer to?
Yeah, the one thing I would have asked Roger, how do you answer the idea that you suspend every NFL player for playing some sort of gambling thing, yet you make a fortune with gambling? That's hypocritical. So it's okay for Arthur Blank to make a fortune with FanDuel and all the gambling ads. Yeah. And if Calvin Ridley plays $1,500, he gets suspended for a year. Yeah. How is that right? Either you think gambling's bad or you don't. So you can make a fortune, yet the players, if they play, get killed. That's what I would have got. I probably would have gone there myself.
Talking to Chris Mad Dog Russo, Mad Dog Unleashed on Sirius XM, also host of High Heat on MLB Network. Give me the storyline that's left to be played out in the regular season in baseball.
American League West, Dan. Seattle, Texas, and the Astros. One of those teams is not going to make the playoffs. Toronto's going to get in. Texas is playing Seattle. Seattle had a great win last night. They had a 2-out, 2-run double in the bottom of the ninth by the shortstop Crawford to win the game against Chapman. So that kept them alive. So they trail by a game, Houston, and they trail Texas by a couple. Now remember, it's tie. You know this, but the fans may not. It's tiebreaker. It's not an extra game. And Seattle's got the tiebreaker on Houston. So if they finished tied, Seattle makes it and not the world champs. And Houston's in Arizona this weekend, and the Diamondbacks haven't clinched a spot yet. So I think that 3-2, I think that is your storyline in the American League West. The other storyline would be the Cubs, who were playing great with 33-14. They didn't trade Bellinger, and now they can't get a win. And now Miami controls destiny for that last playoff spot in the NL East. And think about this for a second, Dan. No Mets, no Yankees, no Red Sox, no Giants, and maybe no Cubs. Baseball is going to go in the postseason and maybe no Houston. Baseball is going to go into the postseason with not a lot of their staples. They're big ratings getters. Yeah. See how that works here beginning next week.
The best sports franchise, best team in New York right now is?
Well, that's a good question. It's not the Jets. It's not the Giants. I hesitate. Knicks or Rangers? I mean, the Rangers are pretty good. Lavallette's a good coach. The Rangers 2 years ago got to the semifinals. Last year they had a bad loss, and they fired the coach. Maybe I'll say the Rangers.
But the Knicks are in the conversation, right?
Yeah, Knicks are in the conversation. They're a second-round playoff team. But the Giants are bad. They're not going anywhere. The Jets, we just discussed. The Mets stink and the Yankees stink. So that doesn't leave you a lot of teams. So you lose those big four. It's the football in New York's going to be bad again. Well, it is already, but it's going to be bad again. It really is.
Good to talk to you. Keep.
I love you, Dan. You know you're my buddy.
Firing it up. Good to talk to you, man. Have a great weekend. Thank you, dog.
You too.
Mad Dog Russo, always fired up.